Here's some of what's headed your way tonight on your news at 9. The body of a missing 12-year-old girl has been found. On this Memorial Day, the remains of local veterans are laid to rest at Mount Hope Cemetery. And with it being Memorial Day, many area communities honoring soldiers will take you to a few of those events.
Americans pause to remember those who lost their lives in service to country. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on Memorial Day commemorations. That's coming right up.
Nick Kelly's got your forecast. Jacob Leonard's on sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. Crews in Newton County, Missouri recovered the body of a 12-year-old girl swept away by Shoal Creek. Authorities say a recovery team found the body of Kaylin Brown yesterday evening about 3 miles downstream from Lime Kiln Park. The girl was swept away by rushing water last Wednesday after getting caught up in the hydraulic current below the dam. Rescue crews had to suspend the search on Thursday and Friday because of severe storms and rising water. And a man who had tried to rescue Kaylin, 34-year-old Trevor Hicks, was pulled from the water by rescue crews on Wednesday. He was hospitalized and now, according to a GoFundMe page set up to support the family, is on life support. Deidre Walker set up that GoFundMe. Walker is a close family friend who is caring for Hicks's son. She took a moment to speak with us.
They realized Kaylin was still in his arms, but due to how far out they were, they didn't have a chance to reach her before she was swept away again. Yeah, so he never let go of that little girl. He fought with his last breath to save her life.
You can find a link to the GoFundMe on our website, and that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Unfortunately for many, rain back in the area again. Nick Kelly joining us.
At least when we started out this Memorial Day, Chris, we started out mainly on a dry note, but like you said, rain chances unfortunately arrived right back on cue. Before it did, the best we could do, afternoon highs today dropping around 67 after a chilly start in the mid-50s at the airport. Unfortunately, these rain chances are leading to fresh flood watches for Craig, Ottawa, Delaware, Benton counties and Barry, McDonald and Newton counties as late as Wednesday morning, because the rain that we've been seeing this afternoon and evening isn't the only batch of rain that we're watching. Even though we're just seeing light to occasionally moderate rainfall, the rain still continues to backbuild across northern and northeastern Oklahoma as our main upper level system continues to churn across the southern Rockies. So these rain chances still in the forecast for tonight as lows drop back into the upper 50s. And I think even with a lot of cloud cover tomorrow and with some rain chances, Chris, temperatures will struggle, so only hit the mid-60s. We'll see how much rain we'll have to deal with, and we'll finally get a chance to warm up too here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Well, this Memorial Day, 4 staters are honoring our area's fallen heroes. At Webb City's Mount Hope Cemetery, that meant giving a proper farewell to some of those heroes. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has that story.
Yeah, Jimmy Bryant, Thomas Brunson, and Jimmy Smart.
These 3 men's cremated remains were given their final resting place on Monday. Across the country are thousands of veterans whose remains sit on mortuary shelves.
What's important to us right now to focus on to make sure these veterans are not sitting on some shelf someplace unclaimed. At least here they have a resting place. They've gotten their full military honors.
Travis Boyd with Mount Hope Cemetery highlights the importance of giving these men a final place to rest alongside their fellow soldiers.
Well, I just feel that it's our duty to make sure that they're taken care of for the sacrifice they made for us.
The ceremony was unable to take place last year due to the pandemic. One observer who's come out to Mount Hope for past ceremonies says it holds a special importance for him, and he was glad to be back.
Well, if you don't teach the next generation, they forget. And George Washington had a great quote about that if you forget the veterans, then they're no longer remembered, and you don't have people willing to stand up to fight the next fight because no one honors them.
Also in attendance was Missouri Senator Bill White, who's a member of Joplin's American Legion Post 13. He says now these 3 will have a place to be remembered and even recognized.
People that walk by are going to look down and see their name and see that they served in the Army for these 3, and it's a fitting tribute that they are remembered again. And they'll have a final place where their name is going to be there, hopefully for forever, so that they can be remembered and their service acknowledged.
The cemetery plans to hold these ceremonies every year until all of these unclaimed soldiers are taken care of and given a final resting place. In Webb City, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Cemetery officials say in the future they hope to build a fallen but not forgotten monument for soldiers like the ones they honored today. Pittsburgh State University Veterans Memorial offers a recorded Memorial Day program available for viewing on the university's YouTube and Vimeo channels. The featured keynote speaker is retired Colonel Donald Woolfolk, a native of Pratt, Kansas, who is now in his 13th year as the Deputy Director of Intelligence, Navy Special Warfare Command. The ceremony goes into the history of Memorial Day after the Civil War. The GAR Cemetery in Miami today hosted an in-person event, but social distancing was encouraged. The event was open to the public and, of course, local veterans organizations. The number of those organizations that attend is growing each year, according to GAR Office Manager Nancy Burrow.
It means action, taking action, volunteering, and not just on Memorial Day, but throughout the year, helping the veterans organizations with their programs and any way you can.
This year's guest speaker was Ben Loring. Loring is a former district attorney, Oklahoma State representative, and current Miami City attorney. His sons David and Ian served in the U.S. Army. Of course, across the country, Americans are gathering to observe Memorial Day. For many, it is the first time they've gathered in large crowds since the start of the pandemic. In Elmhurst, Illinois, several dozen people came together for a ceremony in Wilder Park. Ceremony honoring U.S. military members was followed by a parade through local streets. Last year, many events were scaled down or canceled due to the pandemic. A year later, as vaccinations increase and COVID restrictions ease, more people are venturing out to commemorate the day and spend time with family. And it's a day to honor those who fought for American freedom, and President Biden said we must also extend our support to the families of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Fox News White House correspondent Kevin Cork has more.
President Biden marking Memorial Day by reminding Americans only a few are called on to make the ultimate sacrifice. But we are all called upon to make our nation free and fair.
Today, as we remember their sacrifice, we remind ourselves of our duty to their memory, to the future they fought for. We owe the honored dead a debt we can never fully repay.
The president, along with the First Lady, the Vice President, and the Second Gentleman, laying a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. The president saying this day is and always will be bittersweet to those who've lost a loved one defending our freedom.
I always feel both close to me on Memorial Day. I know exactly where I need to be, right here, honoring our fallen heroes.
Americans turning out in larger numbers this year to honor the fallen across the country as vaccination rates climb and coronavirus cases continue to drop. In New York City, veterans and active service members honored the fallen at the Intrepid Museum, while ceremonies at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial here in Washington honored those who the nation once thought they forgot. Memorial Day is observed on the final Monday in May every year, honoring those who lost their lives in service to their country. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Well, today, Governor Mike Parson granted 36 pardons. Official pardon documents have been filed with the appropriate government agencies and are being sent to the individuals. In the interest of privacy, the governor's office will not immediately release the names of the individuals that were granted clemency, so the appropriate communications can be made to families. The information will be made available once those families have been notified. And on this Memorial Day, we take time to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Private First Class Robert Johnson served in the Marines during Korea from 1950 to 1954 and was awarded the Purple Heart. His hometown, Next City, Missouri. And we are proud to recognize Private First Class Robert Johnson, tonight's four-state hero. And of course, to learn more about other heroes or nominate one of your own, all you got to do is head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later we'll hear from some baseball players who traveled thousands of miles in search of a national championship in Pittsburgh.
While it was nice to keep dry for much of this weekend and at least to start Memorial Day out, Mother Nature flipped the script on us once again as we continue through this afternoon. You can see from indigo sky, it started out as a dry view with quite a bit of cloud cover. Eventually, we would see rain chances filter in, not just over Seneca, Missouri, but across a good portion of the area. Rain that some areas don't need, especially those under the flood watches, all the way until Wednesday morning at the latest. But we have Craig, Ottawa, Delaware, Benton counties until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then Barrie, McDonald, and Newton until Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. All because of rain chances working back in. At least for this first batch, we haven't seen too much in the way of heavy rainfall once it finally just started to work on in as we went through the course of the late afternoon and evening. And even looking at a quick radar tour, we're only seeing pockets of moderate rainfall, let's say north of Parsons, north of Girard, skirting around Pittsburgh, and then trying to pick up around Weir and Scammon. Across northeast Oklahoma, it's just mainly light rain for areas north of the Turnpike. And then on the Missouri side, mainly light rain from I-44 north, from Mount Vernon, Joplin, up north to about Nevada. This round of rain so far isn't doing much for us in terms of big rain amounts, 1/10 of an inch on average, but those flood watches are out because of more rain chances on the way that could bring maybe some minor amounts that could still lead to some flooding potential if they all come at once. In the meantime, though, wet roads from 7th and Range Line, mostly cloudy skies, holding at 60 with an east breeze at 5 and the humidity quite high at 90%. Most of us are back near 60 already, but many of us will only drop back into the upper 50s tonight. I think that's the lowest we'll go as far as temperatures go because of the rain chances that some of us will see during the overnight while everybody else deals with a lot of cloudy skies. At least we are not dealing with any nasty, strong, or severe storms. That's confined to the front, parked across the state of Texas. Our wet rain chances, though, will still be driven by this upper low. It was stuck in the desert southwest to start the weekend out. Now it's working out of the Rockies and will continue to work slowly north and east as we go through the next few days. Along the journey, it will continue to keep rain chances in place as rain actually continues to develop and potentially pick up in intensity across northeast Oklahoma in areas along and south of I-44. That's certainly what the future track wants to have for us as we start your Tuesday morning out in the upper 50s. Then we'll see if we can back things down to just scattered showers and maybe a few random thunderstorms. But because of this setup, temperatures are just going to struggle tomorrow. 57 in the morning, 63 by noon. I'm thinking only mid-60s, 66 if we're lucky, given all the cloud cover and rain chances we'll have to contend with. Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning, we'll still have some scattered showers out there, and we'll hold on to at least a decreasing chance for some scattered rain and thunderstorms on Wednesday, but at least by then we'll be back in the 70s for highs. In terms of additional rainfall, it's the bigger amounts concentrated along and south of I-44 where 1 inch to maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches in some of the heavier spots. While that may not seem like a lot of additional rainfall, that's already falling on saturated ground, so we need to keep a watch on that. 66 tomorrow, 73 Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, I'm thinking we're mainly staying dry with maybe an outside chance of a storm. 79 Thursday, 82 Friday, and thankfully we stay in the lower 80s going into the coming weekend, Chris.
At least we can finally recover in those temperatures, even though there's a few more rain chances down the way.
Yeah, and thankfully, though, a little drop-off Thursday and Friday. Those are looking okay.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up.
Crime is surging as the country reopens after a year of quarantines and lockdowns. I'm David Lee Miller in New York. The details coming up.
Nominate your
end soon.
The uptick in vaccinations is fueling a big rise in tourism and crime as New York City and other big cities are reporting major spikes as they reopen. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more from New York City.
More than half of all Americans are now at least partially vaccinated, and big cities are opening their doors once again as the busy summer tourism season gets underway. But the reopenings are also being accompanied by a rise in crime. Here in New York, the former epicenter of the outbreak, there's been a sharp increase in murders, shootings, auto thefts, and hate crimes, prompting concerns that the surge could become an obstacle to reviving the tourism industry.
Crime, crime, crime. All these people who are running for mayor, my 2 cents to New Yorkers, You're going to pick a new mayor? A mayor who can deal with crime realistically.
There have also been a number of widely reported crimes involving tourists, though visitors to the city say the NYPD is out in force, and they're not afraid.
I see a heavy police presence everywhere, and it's just like anywhere else, use common sense.
We felt really safe here, and it's been a lot of fun.
Other cities hoping to attract tourists are also reporting a surge in crime, including Chicago, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. Some experts say it is the inevitable result of reopenings, and more needs to be done to rebuild trust after a year of police enforcing COVID restrictions.
The relationship between law-abiding citizens and the police departments are broken.
Nationwide, the homicide rate increased by about 24% during the first 3 months of this year. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Well, just ahead, as the country slowly gets back to normal, people are beginning to head back to the movies.
County.
As the country slowly heads back to normal, the rainy Memorial Day weekend in New York City had some people going back to a favorite pastime, not baseball. It was put on hold by the pandemic, not baseball. It was going to the movie theaters. Fox's Briella Tomasetti has more.
John Krasinski's thriller sequel, A Quiet Place Part 2, shattering pandemic-era box office records this Memorial Day weekend.
We watched A Quiet Place 2.
I don't know if you've seen Quiet Place 1, with the monsters and, you know, the whole 9 yards.
After a brutal year for the movie business, movie critic Neil Rosen says it's a sure sign the box office is coming back to life again.
A Quiet Place 2, which made $60 million this Memorial Day weekend, that's not even considered a good weekend post-pandemic. That's considered a great weekend if we never even were in a pandemic. I'm Cruella.
Disney's live-action Cruella de Vil prequel also kicking off its theater run with solid ticket sales.
I said Cruella!
While there's no denying the weekend washout may have drawn more people towards the big screen.
You know, it was raining, and not many outdoor options are viable when it's raining up here in the city.
Many moviegoers say they finally feel safe swapping their living rooms for the in-person experience.
I mean, you got the people, you got the snacks, you got the surround sound. It's pretty different.
So this is the first time for me coming to, the theaters in New York. And it was pretty cool. I'm definitely going to do it again.
Now, a lot of movie theaters here in New York are still operating under social distancing guidelines, but just last week, some of the nation's top chains, including AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, announced that they would no longer require vaccinated moviegoers to wear masks. It's a sign things are slowly starting to return back to normal.
Researchers at Columbia University have created a robot which mimics human facial emotions. The soft autonomous robot named Eva has a very malleable face which helps it to contort to appear to have emotions. Now, according to a university news release, the project has been in the works for 5 years. The report says one of the reasons it's difficult for robots to portray emotions is because they're typically more of hard materials which usually can't contort seamlessly. Researchers hope the technology may have real-world applications as robots may be used more often in schools, hospitals, and homes. We're going to be right back after this. Right after this. See, coming up in our second half hour of your News at 9.
Police are hunting down 3 suspects responsible for a mass shooting at a banquet hall in Florida. I'm Christina Coleman with the latest on that search coming up.
And still to come, a special birthday for an 81-year-old man in Illinois.
After Memorial.
A special day for a grandfather in Woodstock, Illinois. For the first time, 81-year-old Roger Becker, a retired electrician, was able to see the world in color on Sunday. Becker was gifted a special pair of glasses for color blindness. 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women are colorblind. If someone told you you could earn money by playing video games, but you had to play for 21 hours and you could only pick one friend to help you do it, who would it be? Frontier Bundles, an internet provider, is offering $2,000 to 2 pals willing to play 21 hours of video games together and report back on their experience. The company wants to know if people do better playing solo or with someone on their side. It's a fun way to celebrate some big games coming out this year like Resident Evil Village and Mario Golf Super Rush. If If you want to win $2,000 while you game, there's more information on the Frontier Bundles website. And you may like a tweet, but was it more of a ha-ha or a cheer? A new report shows Twitter is working on expanding its like options similar to emojis. At this stage, the new options include cheer, a thinking, a somber sad, and a laughing, ha-ha. The new feature will remind many users of similar options on platforms such as Facebook and LinkedIn. At the end of 2020, Twitter researched the most tweeted emojis, and the new like options appear to correspond with the research's top finds. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports headed your way, including why Google is facing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Still no arrests in the deadly mass shooting in Florida over the weekend. Officials say it was the result of an ongoing rivalry between two gangs, and they're calling on the violence to end. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman has the latest on the search.
We will leave no stone unturned. We will leave nothing behind to bring these shooters to justice.
The search is on for 3 suspects responsible for a mass shooting that left 2 dead and injured at least 20 people. It happened shortly after midnight during a Saturday evening party at a banquet hall in South Florida. Dozens of people were gathered outside the venue when 3 gunmen in ski masks and hoodies jumped out of an SUV and opened fire, sending a barrage of bullets randomly into the crowd. Authorities believe the shooting was targeted, but it's unclear if the victims were specifically chosen.
We have to be clear about what's happening in Miami-Dade County. These are acts of domestic terrorism.
Friends and family are now demanding answers.
You all killed my kid. You must burn.
A grieving father of one of the victims broke down during Monday's news conference, interrupting the Miami-Dade police director. Authorities are asking for the public's help in bringing the shooters to justice, offering a $130,000 reward for information. Miami-Dade police released new surveillance video of the suspected gunman on Monday. It shows 3 men getting out of a white Nissan Pathfinder and rushing off camera, then later running back to the car, then running away from the scene. This was the second mass shooting in the Miami area over the weekend. A drive-by shooting late Friday left 1 person dead and 6 others injured. Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Well, India's coronavirus crisis is showing signs of improvement. The country reported on Monday its lowest number of cases and deaths since April 11th. Nearly 153,000 new infections were recorded as the total cases surpassed 28 million. It's the 4th day in a row that number has been below 200,000. Although reported cases are declining, state authorities remain cautious. Some states, including Delhi and Maharashtra, and where Mumbai is located, have extended lockdowns. The country says it also hopes to deliver 120 million doses of COVID vaccines in June. To date, nearly 345 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been distributed in India. Google is facing a class action lawsuit over claims it paid female employees nearly $17,000 less per year than male staff for the same work. A judge certified the lawsuit on Thursday. The lawsuit was brought on behalf of 10,800 women. They're seeking over $600 million in damages. Google says for the past 8 years it has conducted analysis to ensure salaries, bonuses, and equity awards are fair, but the women are accusing Google of violating California's Equal Pay Act, noting that along with salary, women were paid smaller bonuses and less stock than men in the same job code and location. A lawyer representing the women said the next step is to get the case to trial, which could happen in 2022. It's one of the deadliest riots in American history, one that claimed dozens of lives and financially ruined the thriving African-American business center once known as the Black Wall Street. Ashley Strohmeyer has more on the Tulsa Race Massacre 100 years after the tragedy.
Our country may forget this history, but I cannot.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 31st, 1921. A white mob descends on a major black neighborhood and an economic hub called Greenwood, following rumored reports of a black man assaulting a white woman. The deadly events that followed going down in history as the Tulsa Race Massacre.
I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire.
Over the span of 18 hours, that mob destroyed Greenwood, burning more than 1,000 homes and businesses to the ground and murdering an estimated 300 people while taking thousands of Black Tulsans into custody. Monday marks 100 years since the massacre, and still survivors are seeking justice and reparations from the city of Tulsa.
My family was driven out of our home. We were left with nothing. We were made refugees in our own country.
Activists say the time for Tulsa to repair the past and make amends is far overdue.
100 years for reparations is like waiting 3 hours for a burger at McDonald's.
Meanwhile, leading up to the centennial, community members are paying tribute to the lives lost and those forever changed, marching down a road that was once a path used by Black people to escape the mob the night of the massacre.
The area of Greenwood never fully recovered following the massacre, and no members of the mob were ever prosecuted. Efforts in Tulsa to uncover remains of massacre victims is still underway. Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast.
While it was dry for much of the weekend so far and to start Memorial Day out, unfortunately, Mother Nature had to flip the script on us throughout the day. That's why we had plenty of cloud cover across Indigo Sky, Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, and eventually we would see some showers skirting by the casino grounds as we got into this evening. But for some of you, rain chances on the way is probably the last thing you need, so it really doesn't help that we have flood watches out for parts of northeast Oklahoma, east of Bartlesville, northwest Arkansas until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then for Berry, McDonald, and Newton counties until 7 o'clock on our Wednesday morning ahead of us. All because of rain chances working back in. At least it didn't start that way this morning. Mostly cloudy this morning, sure, but we were, again, dry to start this Memorial Day morning out. Then once we got into the afternoon, that's when the better moisture started to roll in with mainly light to moderate rain across parts of the area. Quick radar tour has some heavier pockets of rain, let's say from Arma, Franklin, back through Girard, and then trying to sneak back close to Erie and St. Paul, and even a little cluster of a moderate rain around Parsons. Northeast Oklahoma, mainly along the turnpike, it's light to moderate rain with maybe a heavier pocket skirting around Grand Lake. Then we have just mainly light rain from Carthage, north on I-49 up to Nevada and extending as far east as Greenfield and Stockton Lake and the far northern sides of Joplin, let's say around Webb City, Carl Junction, and even Oronogo. So for the time being, it looks as though we're dry in Joplin, but the roads are wet with plenty of cloud cover still up top. 60 degrees with a light east breeze at 5. That humidity is quite high at 90%, so that dew point at 57 gives us a good idea of where temperatures are eventually going to settle back to as we go throughout the course of the night. We're not quite there yet. Most spots in the lower 60s, but we will drop back into the upper 50s as we go through the overnight and as we continue to keep an eye on the radar with more rain developing across north central and northeastern parts of Oklahoma. At least we're not dealing with any of these thunderstorms across Texas. That's strong to severe weather staying along the front. That's parts well to the south. For us, though, this upper low that was stuck in the desert southwest is finally working through the Rockies, and as this slowly continues north and east over the next few days, that is going to keep rain chances in the forecast. That includes tonight, where some of the rainfall still around could calm down at a pretty good clip at times, moderate to maybe heavy rainfall. But these should not be thunderstorms, and even though the rain chances stick with us throughout the day tomorrow, even dropping back to scattered rain chances, I don't think we have enough instability in place to get thunderstorms. So we're not going to worry about any storm chances tomorrow, but look at the temperatures starting at 57 and only topping out at 66 for tomorrow afternoon. Only dropping back into the upper 50s while the cloud cover stays in place. Scattered rain chances stay in place. At least a little more sun on our Wednesday will get us back into the 70s, but rain chances still want to hold on through Wednesday afternoon. And by that point, along and south of 44, rain totals could range between an inch and 2 inches before we get a chance to get the system out of here. It'll clear out on Thursday, and I think we stay pretty okay for Thursday and Friday. Mainly dry before another developing low starts to pick up some moisture on Saturday and definitely brings in another good scattering of rain chances going into next week. As far as temperatures go, not too terrible, really. We just got to get past 66 tomorrow, then 73 Wednesday, near 80 Thursday, and mainly lower 80s to take us through the coming weekend, Chris.
You know, it's kind of wild to say, but it's nice to see seasonable temperatures return. I mean, it's June, and this is It's
I know,
cold,
like,
it seems.
Of all my life, I can't recall kind of a chilly Memorial Day, but we just had one, and like you said, we're going back in the right direction later on.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up in sports, the Crowder College Rough Riders aim to stay alive in the Junior College World Series. Plus, the NCBA World Series is this week in Pittsburgh, bringing in teams from all across the country. Sports director Jacob Leonard has that story next.
Tuesday morning. The Crowder College Rough Riders are still alive at the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado. Sunday, they avoided elimination, beating Florence Darlington 9-8. Today, they face elimination once again, this time on the field against Walters State. Crowder does it again, winning big this afternoon, 14-6. 5 different guys hit a home run today for the Rough Riders. Crowder stays alive to play again tomorrow afternoon. The NCBA World Series is in Pittsburgh this week. It brings in the best collegiate club baseball teams from all over the country, literally. The Final Four features East Carolina, Oregon, Virginia Tech, and Iowa State. Now, we caught up with some of the players to talk about coming from hundreds, sometimes even thousands of miles away to Pittsburgh, Kansas, in search of a national title.
My name's Sam Cole. I play shortstop and I'm the president for the Iowa State baseball team.
I'm Robbie Sleesher. I play first base for the University of Oregon.
Jonathan Spalding. I am a shortstop and I play for Virginia Tech.
My name is Michael Crumpler. I play left field for ECU. We took a road trip across the country in a bus. It took us 2 days to get here. We saw some pretty cool things. It was the farthest west I've been.
I'm not accustomed to the Midwest very much. You know, I'm Virginia, there's mountains, beaches, stuff like that. So when I came through, I was like, man, this place is flat.
The city is really beautiful, honestly. The people are very nice, and it's been a great experience.
The first thing I noticed was, I was like, man, there's gorillas everywhere, dude. And I thought that was awesome because, you know, being at Virginia Tech, we got the Hokie Birds, and they're just everywhere. And people come in and they're like, why do you have it everywhere? You know, it's just a pride thing. So I love that we're in a town that, like, has so much pride behind the team. So I think that's cool.
We're staying at the Hampton that's connected to the casino.
If he doesn't score, we have to heist the casino. We have to steal like a bunch of money.
Everyone sees our jerseys, see our hats, and they're like, oh, why you're from Iowa? Or I'm sure the other teams, like Oregon's far away too.
We've definitely had a lot of people come up to us asking us why we're in Pittsburgh.
Went to the deli over at the mall. It was great. Those sandwiches were good, and the crackers and whatever dressing they had for the crackers was good. We got some to bring home. It would mean a lot to me and everybody here on this team. I mean, most of us have been working 3 or 4 years strong for this opportunity, and you know, we feel like we've put in the work and we're very close to bringing it home.
We have a lot of guys that couldn't make it here, unfortunately, due to work, and they've been watching everything they can and rooting us on. So doing it for some of those boys that didn't get to make it out would just, you know, you might see a tear roll down my face here.
The NCBA National Championship game will be on Wednesday night at 7 at Pittsburgh State. Both the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals are in action tonight. The Royals are back home this evening for a quick 2-game set against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, these two teams split a pair of games earlier this season. Tonight, Kansas City leads 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. As for the Cardinals, they take their 5-game winning streak to LA to face the Dodgers. That one is in the bottom of the 5th, with the Cards down 2-0. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Get obsessed with.
A new concierge ride service has launched in Las Vegas. The latest ride share service is called Captain. At the Las Vegas airport, you can find them curbside at both Terminal 1 and 3. What makes them different? Their fleet is all electric, made up of Tesla vehicles.
We are hiring upwards of 1,000 drivers. Currently, we have 175 full-time drivers and 100 active vehicles.
The electric-based car service is currently hiring for full-time drivers with benefits. They're aiming to have 250 cars on the road here in Vegas by September. Italian race car driver Fabio Barone broke his 4th world speed record on Sunday. He sped over a treacherous panoramic road along the coast of Mauritania in southern Italy. He navigated his Red Baron Ferrari over almost 2 miles of dangerous hairpin turns and curves, just shy of 1.5 minutes, breaking a record. A conservation group is making strides to bring monarch butterflies back to California. The group says it's placing more than 30,000 milkweed plants in the state in hopes of giving western monarch butterflies new places to breed. The River Partners Group joined with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and others on the plantings along the Sacramento, Kern, and Feather rivers. The plants are seen as critical because the butterflies lay their eggs on them. Scientists say the butterflies are at critically low levels in western states because of the destruction of the milkweed habitat. Well, still ahead, we're taking you to the Fort Logan National Cemetery in Denver for a special story about honoring our veterans. Well, the second annual Fort Logan National Cemetery memorial flag placement took place on Sunday ahead of Memorial Day. Those participating in the flag placement said they were there to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Fox photojournalist Byron Stewart has the story.
It's a very important day.
It doesn't matter what party you support, we're all Americans and we should all be supporting our veterans.
Alexander J. Bascall, Colorado, private first class.
Their sacrifice is why we have the freedoms we have today.
Her parents are both buried right over here, and my father and mother are right down the aisle here.
And both our dads are World War II veterans.
Today I'm team leader for the Flags for Fallen Vets, representing the Danny Dietz Foundation, and we have friends here along with hundreds of others who are laying flags in honor of our fallen.
The lives and the sacrifices that these people gave so we could be free is unmatched.
This is a tradition that needs to be honored and respected.
Service Lester?
Oh, we come out every year for Memorial Day. This is actually the first year we've been able to plant the flags, and I'm really honored to be able to do that.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to help these foundations, the Navy SEAL Foundation, the Danny Dietz Foundation, all the comrades and brothers that are out there. It's they need help. They need people to help. We need volunteers.
And that's our time for now. Our next news time is in just a few minutes, over at 10 on KOAM. And remember, for the latest news, weather, and sports on your schedule, all you need to do is head over to KOAMNewsNow.com or check out the KOAM News Now app. Thanks for making us part of your night.